Hello and welcome to Portland Paper. I am Travis Cooper hanging out with,
Bradley Brown.
and we're going to be watching round one of Modern Mondays at Guardian Games. And it looks like we've got a matchup of Zeke Rosenberg on four color creativity and Greg Hag on Urza Blade.
Now, I happen to know that Zeke has been doing quite well with this deck of late. I've also played against a slightly different build against another player here at Guardian and gotten destroyed by it pretty handily. So I think creativity is quite a powerful deck these days.
Yeah, it's fun. I like how it does this thing that most like four color decks are doing, where it has like a pile of good cards like planeswalkers, and then you have the option of being like more mid-rangey with like the elemental creatures, or if you're going to go kind of over the top with creativity and putting in some whatever flavor of non-legendary large creatures of your choosing.
Right. There's a little flex in the deck as well, like which of those non-legendary creatures you're playing. I know some decks are playing Archon. Happen to know a couple of the ones that Zeke is playing as well. I know he's on the Emrakul and the Sarah's Emissary package.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, is he just on Jeskai or is he playing the four colors? Do you know?
I don't know for sure.
Okay, we'll find out probably in the first two turns.
Yes. Land drops will make that evident fairly quickly. I don't know too much about this specific build of Urza Blade that Greg is playing. I watched him playing a couple games before the tournament tonight and saw Stoneforge Mystic and the sort of assorted post-Luris ban, like actually getting to play Cauldron Complete, stuff like that.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be like portable holes hanging on there, Urza Sagas, Springleaf Drums, probably Esper Sentinels.
These are all very good cards.
It's been interesting to see how like Stoneforge isn't like in Modern, it's in these Urza Saga decks.
Right.
We're in like Legacy, and for such a long time, and like early on in Modern before it was banned, it was the whole like Stoneblade archetype that now it's you sort of drop a lot of the control elements and just have way more low to the ground, like heavy on 0 and 1 drop artifacts.
Right. It's almost better as just something that gets you some more artifacts on the board as well as win condition.
Starting off with Springleaf Drum for Greg.
Zeke's land drop shedding no light on whether he is four color or only Jeskai, unfortunately.
And Greg valued the card draw over the amount of artifacts in play. I think these Urza Blade decks aren't like I feel like there is a gradient of like artifact decks that share similar colors, like blue or blue and white, where some of those decks are going to be playing actual affinity cards, and also Urza Saga, and or Urza the High Lord himself, and then some of them are just going to be a little bit more on the like playing slightly more control variants without playing the affinity creatures.
Right, and here is the Mystic. And there it is. Again, a card we haven't seen too much of since or before Luris got banned. It's nice to see it showing its face again.
There is such a wall of text.
Yeah, I could not tell you off the top of my head what keywords are on that card.
Indestructible, and then it gives a creature haste, indestructible, and trample, and if it deals combat damage to another creature, it gets exiled.
Gotcha. I think I've taken it and Batterskull and just put all of their abilities onto one card.
Are you going to spin the dice again? No. Well, in a way, kind of.
Yeah. It's, the value in modern decks these days is pretty crazy. Just every card draws you a card or is a very versatile response, like the Prismatic Ending sitting in Zeke's graveyard right now.
Oh yeah, chat mentions we forgot First Strike, which I do feel like every time I read Kaldra, there's more. I'm like, oh, it does that thing too, and I've played with the card.
Right. I suppose that First Strike clause relevant with the last line of text of exiling the creature when it gets dealt combat damage as well. Makes it really, really hard to kill that germ in combat.
Did you see what Greg grabbed?
Nettle Cyst.
Okay.
Yeah. And Esper Sentinel. Not quite white Ancestral Recall, but feels like it sometimes on a 1/1.
I think Greg is also playing the style of deck where you could resolve something like an Archon, and Greg might still be able to win through that.
Right.
All right, the Saga gets bounced, which is always a fun thing to do with Teferi, bouncing a land.
Didn't even know you could do that, but definitely makes sense. I will tell the viewers here. I am primarily a red player, play a lot of Burn and some mono red Prison as well. So the vagaries of blue and white cards are lost on me sometimes. There's that Nettle Cyst we saw earlier.
You know the ones that like cause you like your opponent to gain life though, probably.
I do know all of those very well. Yes, they haunt my dreams. Well, Teferi, we hardly knew ye. Probably for the best.
That's a medium Nettle Cyst right now, just a little
Yeah, what are we looking at, a 2/2 here?
little ballerina.
Yeah. Overcosted bear. All right, couple of tokens hitting the battlefield.
Okay.
Zeke looking for that third red source. I'm starting to think he's playing Jeskai.
Me too. Yeah.
There's no green in this list.
Let's update that title.
Yeah. Excuse me. It is nice getting to be on this end of things. This is actually my first time commentating here, and I've played on stream quite a few times, and it's always nice to hear someone else's ideas coming in and letting me know the lines that I've missed and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have a lot of people also when you're commentating that can like let you know when you're missing lines too in chat. That's always helpful.
Yes, chat is always smarter than whoever's on the mic.
All right, Greg, valuing getting that brick wall of a crab off the battlefield.
Crab people. Yeah, not sure how much disruption other than sort of permanent removal Greg is playing.
Yeah, let's say if we do resolve a Sarah, is that the one? Sarah's Emissary?
Yeah.
That can grant you protection from a card type. If you say creature, is there anything that Greg's deck can do to then win the game?
I don't think so, unless there's some kind of weird Urza, like 4-mana Urza Thopter combo hiding in Greg's deck somewhere, which seems...
Maybe there's an Aether Spellbomb for a bounce. I could see that as a target for Saga.
Right.
That would be pretty... If it's in the deck, I would see that being the heads up, like, get for Saga next turn.
Right. And it looks like we're going to game 2.
That was a quick game 1.
That was a quick game 1. Well, coming out of the sideboard, genuinely have no clue what either of these decks are doing.
I would say a big draw for playing Jeskai colors is you get a pretty cool sideboard. With there's got to be at least 2 wear tears, if not more. That's one of, I think, the best red-white sideboard cards. Blows up an Urza Saga, can deal with artifacts, can do both of those things.
Yep, I know you are a big fan of Wear Tear. You've cast at least one against me recently to great effect. I do think it's quite good these days.
So something like, usually white will have access to cards like Stony's Silence or Kataki. Not sure if Zeke is going to have Stony. It shuts off his own clues, but a lot of times the clues are sort of desperation draws, but usually just fodder for sacrificing with creativity. But I could see either of those cards that are in Zeke's sideboard as well.
Chat makes a good point that the Ketria Triome suggests that there is probably 4 colors in this deck, unless it's just there for prismatic ending value, which it might be. Didn't see a Ren and 6 in that game, which I know some other creativity lists are playing.
Yeah, I'd say most, the 4-colored list are kind of heavy on like Ren and 6s. You're going to have like 3 Teferis. They've been playing Omnath lately. It's just something that generates value.
That costs 5 mana now, right? And scries instead of drawing a card? It's an outdated Arena joke.
Oh, is it the thing that they changed
the modification that they made on Arena, yes.
strange to creativity like into an Omnath though. But you know, if you're creativitying
True.
for like 3,
Yeah.
uh,
I do think that just putting Omnath in your 4-color deck because you can kind of, it does make some sense. I don't think this creativity list can play any companions because you're shut off of Gigantha by creativity itself. Probably don't want to play 80 cards just to loot your combo. I saw, was it, maybe it might have been a week or two ago, I saw an Elves list playing on stream with Azurda as a companion.
okay.
That was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
It was like a combo elves list that was basically using the equipment that, oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember the name from, that has untap abilities.
Pilipala. Pilipala?
No, that's a creature,
Oh,
but
okay,
there's an
gotcha.
equipment that has an untap, and then you
Yeah.
smack that onto like Archdruid and generate a bazillion mana, move the equipment around to a bunch of creatures. Yeah, give them all +1,000,000 +1,000,000.
Too big for my brain. All right. Let's look at these opening 7s and see what we got. I have to say, I'm always impressed at you and Ian's ability to identify cards based on the small sliver that you can see on the stream. Very good.
Well, I see some lands in Zeke's hand.
Definitely see some
yeah,
lands.
Zeke is a keep.
He needs those, so we're off to the races.
Specifically lands that are mountain.
Right.
Which I liked the creativity decks that were playing Titan. I thought that was interesting how it also, you're wanting to get mountains anyways for Dwarven Mine, and then that's a payoff for having a bunch of mountains.
Sure, just having Valakut in your deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. These artifact duels have been a cool addition to the format as well. Nice to a really big boost to affinity decks and decks like this that just sort of care about incidental artifacts.
Yeah, I keep waiting for more people to play Stony Silences because it is
Yeah.
so fun to Stony Silence someone's land.
It is, yeah. Playing 4-mana Karn feels really good against those affinity decks. There's that turn 2 Stoneforge again.
Each deck sort of doing what they want to do in the first couple turns, making some
Yeah.
tokens, getting an equipment.
Ships passing in the night currently. Zeke hoping for another prismatic ending. And there it is.
It's interesting how this, I feel like creativity, you also have to think, like sequencing your lands is really important, and you know, most of the time your folks are into turn fetching, but with the creativity deck, you want to be able to like fetch and then still have priority a lot of times afterwards, depending on like, how many fetch lands you have for making a bunch of tokens for creativity, and it's not the automatic, like just fetch it in step.
Right.
I feel like Greg had this exact same
Yeah.
sequence at the beginning of game 1.
Yeah. We're about to get a Nettle Cyst off of this look here. Not quite.
And Greg really valuing minimizing Zeke's access to tokens.
I'm not sure these 1-to-1 answers for those 2-for-1 token creators are very good, but there's, you know, he's limited by the colors he's playing in. Definitely makes sense to keep him off it. I'm wondering if Zeke went with any of his other options from the sideboard for creativity payoffs. I think he's got an Iona in the sideboard as well, but I don't think that's particularly good here against his colorless primarily opponent.
I imagine there's also an Emrakul hanging out in there.
That's in the main.
Oh.
Yeah. He's on the Sarah's Emissary Emrakul package in the main deck.
Both of them. Okay.
Yes. He was talking to me before the tournament for a little spice. You know, you don't know what you're gonna get. You get to roll the dice a little bit. There's that Teferi again.
similar play to the last time.
Yeah,
Bouncers of
very-
Saga.
Very similar game here.
I mean, Saga is an incredibly strong Magic card. It is interesting how it does. You have to wait a full turn cycle before you're gonna get like a benefit off of it, other than being able to tap for mana.
Yeah. I think its flexibility is like it is also just a land. You know, you don't have to make constructs that draws you a card functionally on its last chapter. Obviously, yes, it is a very powerful card. I don't think we're breaking any news here.
I do like the ability to, with a Wear Terror March, to destroy or exile the Saga before it is able to make mana. That is fun.
Oh, before the first chapter counter goes on, or lore counter.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
Yep.
I do like niche stone rain effects. That's definitely my Magic happy place.
I think it comes. The lore counter is going to be on it, but then the Saga ability goes on the stack, and you can interact with that ability.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Fetched up again with Stoneforge, and taking down the Teferi. Are we going to make a token at the end of turn? We
There
are
it
making
is.
a token.
Let's see what Zeke's dwarf token of choice is.
Moment of judgment
Yeah,
right
we can
now.
judge him mercilessly. Oh, that's all right. I mean, I don't know how dwarfy it is, but I do like a good Charmander. How do we feel about Charmander as a dwarf token?
Arcade post tokens are fine. Yeah, fine. It's small, you know. That's
Right,
it's acceptable. It passes muster.
right. Charmeleon, probably not. Probably not.
Okay, we're gonna get to creativity for. Oh, we're not. I thought we were gonna creativity for 2, but
Here's a little more spice, and get the land with Nahiri. Yes, even more niche stone rain effects. Very good. I think you can also, I forget Nahiri's text exactly, but I think you can nab a tapped artifact land as another land destruction option. I think Nahiri says tapped creature, tapped artifact, or enchantment.
are your inner like land destruction?
Oh yes,
Feeling.
I'm very tickled right now. Absolutely, absolutely. Greg in the tank a little bit.
Was it did Greg nab Caldra or a Nettlesis? Did you see?
I think it must have been a Nettlesis because he got Caldra off the first Stoneforge, but I don't remember exactly what it was. I guess we're about to find out. Nope, still a mystery.
March for 0 works pretty well on the token. I feel like if Zeke had it, he might have already used that though. So we'll see.
The 3 counters on that Smith. Yeah, 4/4.
All right, looks like Caldra came in at the Nahiri, and the Smith just straight at Zeke.
Here comes another Charmander. Maybe Zeke going for both his payoffs in one turn with these 2 dwarf tokens.
I have a feeling Zeke doesn't have the creativity.
Yeah, you're almost certainly right.
Like Greg did a much better job of drawing like the part of his deck that was the name inspired.
Yes. Prismatic ending again, very powerful, and a spreading seas.
All right, we have a lot of dwarfs working in the mines. What are they mining?
We're missing 4. We're 4 shy of a full set.
They're mining angels and Eldrazi's, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know the breakdown on number of creatures in Zeke's deck? Is it like one of each?
Yeah, I'm fairly
Okay.
certain. In the main, it's one of each. Obviously, we're post board, so I don't know now, but The only one I know about in his sideboard is the Iona. Quentin in chat may know. He has thoughts on Zeke's fetch sequencing.
Greg maybe thinking about, let's see, are we in draw step right now? Or was the Saga was played last turn, is that right?
I believe that's
Yeah.
correct. Did we miss a tick up on the die? Putting the pants on the Smith.
Does not have trample, so it's kind of a free block with one of those
Yeah.
dwarfs.
I think that Spreading Seas was mostly just a cantrip to try to find creativity there.
Yeah, I think Saga was played that turn, or Zeke probably would have Spreading Seas.
Yes,
Saga.
Definitely. There's the wear tear you were talking about.
All right, we're going for the Nettle Cyst and the Saga.
Value.
Pretty good, but might be running out of like you can only chump block for so long with this deck before it can't execute its game plan.
Well, it gives you a couple draws anyway.
Yep.
More pants.
All right. Making a treasure, destroying Nettle Cyst, and are we going to chump block? We are.
We are.
So we're token neutral for the turn for Zeke.
Right. This is a showcase of all the tokens in the format. I would hope 4-color would play something like Goose, maybe, but probably not.
Gonna get the goose off your creativity would probably be too much
That's,
to feel
yes,
bad.
That's a very good point.
And we're just casting it.
Oh.
That yeah, I mean you can do that when you get to 7 mana.
Yeah, he still lost a token to get his big payoff. He just used the treasure for mana instead of creativity. Ooh.
Teferi can bounce it.
Yeah. There's going to be a big rumble here.
Seeing 8 right now, damage that comes through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have at least Teferi and maybe Aether Spellbomb to deal with Emissary.
Right.
And we're going to need another land for Zeke.
Did I miss why that token was tapped? Did he get in for 1?
He
the turn
did,
before?
yes.
Okay.
Probably the feeling of the security
Right.
that you get.
Yes, I'm safe here. And is that a... the bane of my existence. That's the Sunset Revelry.
Tell us what Sunset Revelry does.
It's timely, but with other words on it. You gain 4 life. You get 2 tokens. I think soldiers, and then you draw a card. I think is all the words on that card. Obviously, with all the same sort of restrictions that timely does. If you have fewer creatures than your opponent, if you have less life than your opponent, if you have fewer cards in hand than your opponent does. Fairly certain that Zeke is playing 4 of those in the sideboard. All right, Zeke with quite the token army. Kind of like the upside of having one of your life gain cards also be a token maker, advancing your game plan while also keeping you alive to continue playing the game.
Do you think that's a main deck card or a sideboard card?
Sideboard, yeah. but having something that does what your deck wants to do and also fight someone else on a slightly different axis is always very good. Again, a burn player showing his bias here, but Smash to Smithereens, Searing Blaze being spells that go face and also deal with the board. It's functionally card advantage in the right situation.
All right, is volume better out there for chat right now? Give a shout out if it is.
Got a whole army of Agent Smiths here on the battlefield. Ooh, and a very good card. There it is.
A lot of permanents on the board right now.
There are, in fact. I think there are about to be at least 4 fewer, but yeah, quite a few right now. Ah, yes. Summoning Sickness is a thing. So, Zeke with Iona, or Sarah's Emissary in hand, he could cast it, but he's still got to worry about that Teferi.
Well, we could cast Emissary, name creature, swing, kill Teferi.
True. Protection.
But if Greg has another Teferi in hand, that's just game over.
Right. Seeing as he took the aggressive line last time he cast it.
A card with lots of counters on it, Cam, is Ingenious Smith, and it comes into play. You can look at the top 4, choose an artifact, reveal it, put it in your hand, and each turn, when you play an artifact, it can get a 1/1 counter on it, but that can only happen once each turn. Yeah.
I think in this situation, you kind of have to gamble.
I think you don't attack, actually, because
Okay.
Teferi has to be 3 to minus. It's on 2 right now. If you attack in, you're just totally dead to another Teferi, but if you don't, you can still chump block and then play the Emissary again the next turn.
Well, you won't be chump blocking, right? I guess if they bounce it, then you can chump block, but bounce the Angel. Yeah, you're right. And Zeke agrees with you, it would seem. And there's the Spell Bomb you were mentioning as an option. Greg drawing quite a lot of answers this game. So more than just Teferi is an out there to the Angel.
Okay, this gets tricky for Zeke. Yeah, no reason not to swing with everything. I think you have to, if you would leave a creature with power and toughness back if you can, if you're not going to die. So let's see, you could do 1, 2.
So 1, 4.
I think you can leave a dwarf back.
Looks like he's keeping the crab.
I think I'd want to keep something to attack Teferi down to, unless you have an answer for that right now, which you can't play. You can't play. I kind of like leaving a dwarf back so you can at least get Teferi off of being able to bounce.
I mean, like Zeke has drawn quite a few lands this game.
Yeah, this is game
Rebuke.
over.
That is
Yeah.
game over. And we will have seen creativity not cast creativity one time in that matchup.
maybe it's just a ramp deck.
That's
you know?
true. It's true. I suppose there's no proof that there's a payoff there.
Okay, we're gonna pause for a second and we're gonna get another match on camera.